I recently ran a community poll to see what people prefer when it comes to detachments. Whether they would prefer Games Workshop to rework their existing detachments, or for Games Workshop to keep releasing more new detachments, which they're going to do every 3 months. The results may be skewed by the number of Space Marine players who currently have 8 detachments, plus optional sub-faction detachments like the Blood Angels and the Space Wolves. I can understand wanting working detachments for your theme, like if you want Imperial Guard style Genestealer cult, you only have the Brood Brothers, it is fun, I am enjoying it, but my goodness does it need a rework to function. Many of the Genestealer cult detachments do, but not because they are overpowered. That dubious honor goes to the Bad Moon's More Dakka detachment for all the Orky guns. In 2 major tournaments since the detachment was released in March, all podium positions have been held by Orc players running the More Dakka detachment. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all Orcs. I'm not a count who counts. I am providing audio explanations for people who don't like to look at the video part of a video website. When rumours came out about an Orc detachment with sustained hits 2 on almost all guns, they were dismissed. It seemed way too powerful, even for Games Workshop's balancing. And yet, here we are. So this video will explain how More Dakka is overpowered, how it broke the 40k meta, not that it was that balanced in the first place, and what you can do to make it fairer, before Games Workshop takes the easiest option to fix it. Although the easiest option is not to fix it, but I think they will. Orc shooting has been powerful in past because of the volume of bullets, and especially in editions with a shooting meta, where people loved shooting, like 6th edition. That had Orc shooter boys, looters, and looted wagons outgunning Tau gun lines. It can do so again in this detachment. The More Dakka detachment rule means that during your shooting phase, ranged weapons equipped by Orc infantry and Orc walker models have sustained hits too. So if you roll a 6 to hit, you get 2 additional hits. 1 rocket success is now 3 rocket successes. And while the wire is active for your army, ranged weapons equipped by Orc infantry and Orc walkers have the assault ability. So in the war turn, you can move and advance and still shoot and then charge. The enhancements are good. Dead shiny shooters means all ranged weapons in the bearer's unit have rapid fire 1. Tank busters are firing even more rockets, which turn into even more rockets. It's like rockets having rocket babies and then everything explodes. Targeting squigs gives +1 to hit for all ranged weapons in the unit. If you put that on looters, then the looters can move and shoot and be hitting on a 5+, and re-rolling all hit rolls against enemies on objectives, probably to try and get as many 6s as possible. Part of the threat of these Orcs is the amount of time it takes up to roll all the dice. But the stratagems within the detachment make it viable even if you don't have a purely gunline Orc army. Orcs is still Orcs gives you full re-rolls to wound in combat when attacking an enemy on an objective marker. It doesn't matter what unit it is, it could be Orc boys with choppers, they can clear an objective when they have full re-rolls to wound. And the most egregious stratagem is get stuck in, lads. For 1 command point, used in your command phase, the WA is active for 1 unit. Doesn't matter if you haven't called the WA yet, doesn't matter if you already have called the WA for your army. That once per game ability is now used again, on any unit of your choice. And there's a designer's note that says any abilities that would be in effect while the WA is active will be in effect. This has big implications for several Orc units. Zodgrod Wart Snacker's Gretchen, it's 22 Gretchen with Scout with +1 to hit and wound, sustained hits 2 on their shooting, -1 to be wounded, and in the WA, or when they're gonna get stuck in, they have a 12-inch move and a 5+ invulnerable save, and they can move and shoot and charge. They are really annoying to get rid of and can tie up a lot of units in your army turn 1. I faced it recently, and I got rid of it by using precision weapons to get rid of Zogdrod Wartsnagger, but by then the Gretchen had already killed more than 100 points of Marines. And if I wasn't in the Gladius task force, I wouldn't have been able to fall back with my units and then still shoot and charge. If you don't have fall back and shoot or fall back and charge, these Gretchen will mess you up. All of this detachment rule works on Gretchen because they are army keyword orcs. The Mega Nobs are, well, for one command point they get stuck in, they are going to advance and shoot and charge, and they have a 5+ invulnerable save and a 5+ feel no pain. That is a lot. That is too much. Those are the non-shooting stratagems in a shooting detachment. I don't recommend going out and buying all of the orc with gun models you want to try and use this detachment to take advantage of the meta. I mean, you could, but it would be cheaper to go through my affiliates, which are linked in the description. And that helps the channel because the affiliates give me money at no additional cost to you. If you want to read this detachment for yourself, it's free to download from the Warhammer community website. I also have a link to that document in the description. It's a nasty detachment, but there are limits, and you may need to remind your orky opponent of these limits. The detachment rule doesn't apply to vehicles, so no battle wagons or grot mega tanks firing an untold number of shots with sustained hits and more rapid fire. It also won't apply to any orcs shooting from the firing deck, because when you use the firing deck rule, all of the guns are essentially passed on to the tank. As the tank doesn't get the Dakka 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 rule, no sustained hits on anything fired from the firing deck. And those sustained hits too only applies in the orc shooting phase. So it will not apply to Overwatch, it will not apply to the Call That Dakka stratagem, or any other shooting outside of the orc shooting phase. But what we're really after are solutions. What can you do to change this detachment so it's a bit fairer to play against? What may Games Workshop do to fix it? You could do some of these, you could do all of these. But you don't want to get utterly smushed by a friend, or destroy your friend so that they never want to play you again. Or if you are running a tournament, what modifications you can make in your tournament pack so that you can change this detachment so that people want to turn up and won't despair when they see an orc gun line, like when Faramir rode into the orc archers at Osgiliath. Points could be increased on enhancements, like the targeting squigs, they could go up by another 10 points. The detachment rule could exclude grot units. That stops Zogdrod Wartsnagger and his Gretchen being so powerful. It also stops Killercans. That is okay. If you want, you can say, oh no, Killercans still get the detachment rule, or you can let them be unexpected casualties of a change. The sustained hits 2 could be changed to be sustained hits 1. That is what we see from other detachment rules, like the Tyrannid Invasion Fleet, like the Deathwatch Black Spear Task Force. Sustained hits 1 is more reasonable. If you wanted to add more words to the detachment rule, you could say it's sustained hits 1, unless your weapon already has sustained hits 1, then it becomes sustained hits 2. You could limit the range of the sustained hits. Only let the sustained hits bonus apply when attacking enemies within 18 inches. This stops looters being as powerful without needing to change the looter points to adapt to this one detachment. The Brood Brothers Auxilia has an 18-inch range limit on the detachment rule, and 2 of the stratagems in the More Dakka detachment only work when within 18 inches of the target. An 18-inch range limit would be consistent. The Get Stuck In Lad stratagem is the problem one. That could become 2 command points, or it could be used once per game. Because the War, unlike the Gladius Task Force or Black Spear Task Force, where you choose 1 bonus, the Orcs get so many bonuses in the War, that is why it is already once per game as an army rule. That is the limiting factor. The Get Stuck In stratagem breaks the Orcs. So if the stratagem was 2 command points, it is less likely to be used. If it was once per game, we know it's only going to be used once per game in addition to the War. That is how the Bully Boys works. Another once per game War, but for limited units. As a tournament organizer, you could ban this detachment completely. Some small tournaments are seeing the results and already have said, no more Dakka detachment. This is not as bad as banning the Index Eldar or 9th edition Votan. Those were whole armies. This is one detachment. You can still play Orcs at a tournament. Your army list could be near identical to the one you were planning on bringing in the More Dakka detachment, and you could play the similar Dread Mob detachment if you love your walkers and your mechs and your grots. But it is too late to change the Adepticon tournament, where I'm expecting to see More Dakka take positions 1 to 4. I will be covering the Games Workshop preview releases of that in a 2 AM my time zone stream. I'll be tired, but I hope to see you there. My darlings and viewers, have a great day of Dakka Dakka Dakka.